I think it's an interesting concept. Um, let's talk about it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. I think it's a very interesting concept. Um, some of the sort of problems with the game is that the aiming is not great. So I don't know, something's going on with there's some sort of delay for moving the mouse and actually hitting things. So which is why it doesn't feel quite as good as it could, the gunplay, right? I'm sure on PlayStation it's fine, but on PC something's going on there. I don't know what it is, but that's takes away a little bit um, from the experience. The other thing that I noticed was that after you finish something in an area, right, you have to go back out again. And it's kind of repetitive, right? Lots of games let you, after you're done, they have some clever ways to get you back out of an area. In Skyrim, very long time ago, but in Skyrim, this is how they did it. You know, they designed their dungeons in a way where at the end of it, there's just some way to get back to the start of it, right? So you don't have to walk all the way back through it and, waste your time a little bit, right? Now, I don't know exactly why they did it. Like maybe, it would have been cool if you could at any time press a button and then you're back in the tunnels, right? Like I understand the whole Juliana thing and so on, right? Like maybe if she's around, then you can't press it, but um, yeah. The other part that is kind of like a drawback is that the game is kind of short, right? Like we've probably played for 12 hours and we finished it. And we did everything that the game had to offer, right? Like we completed all the visionary leads and we also collected all the arsenal items. Um, so it's a pretty short game, but it's not like necessarily a bad thing, but it's something to keep in mind. Like if you're looking for something that you want to play for a decent amount of time, then Deathloop is not the game for you, right? Um, it might have some replay value, right? And you can also, I guess, protect the loop and uh, I don't know, undo or hamper other people's progress or whatever, which might be a bit of fun. But um, you might also want to play it again. But I don't see this is a fairly story driven and puzzle driven experience, right? And the second time around, it's gonna feel like busy work, like you're not really learning anything else new. And I know that we didn't explore every nook and cranny and figure out all the things, but the reason for doing it is not there anymore, right? Like we finished the game, and what we can get some nicer weapons, okay, whatever, right? But I think it's a really cool concept, and I think it's pretty well executed as well. For the most part, the visionary leads, you can progress through them. You don't have to sort of go back to the previous day, right? Like so they've designed that pretty well. Um, I mean, the sort of blink and all the other sort of abilities in their game are very cool, and they've been around for a really long time in the Dishonored games, and people like them. So that part is really cool. Um, I wasn't that surprised by the story. I mean, it was just do this and then it's done kind of a thing, right? Like there wasn't that much mystery about what's actually going to happen. in the end, right? Like the whole game, we were trying to get out of the loop, and it wasn't really anything that made me want to stay there, right? Like I get it, it's the place where you can sort of try whatever, um, but I don't know, it'll become repetitive after a certain amount of time, right? And you just get bored. So yeah, I think it's a good game. It's a good experience. Would have been interesting if there had been more mystique, but maybe they weren't going for that. Um, Anything else that comes to mind? I mean, the puzzles are kind of cool, right? And it doesn't just sort of jam it in your face and says, hey, this is how you do it. You actually have to figure it out. Like that last one where we were in that area, the bar area, right? Like we had to organically figure that one out. Um, it took a bit of time, but yeah, it was a cool experience. And also the pulling the levers in that one. I mean, it was kind of obvious what needed to happen. Um, we got a bit sidetracked with the gases or whatever. Like, obviously, thinking like a game developer, it was very unlikely that it was anything to do with the gases, right? It was just us getting confused. But I don't know. I couldn't find the last lever. I heard it. I thought it was like below, but it was actually above, right? So whatever. So I think that's pretty cool. Um, what else? The banter between Juliana, and Colt was pretty good. I like that. Like you could feel that there was history between the two. It wasn't just surface level, you know. Um, like there was something to it. Um, what else? I guess the Juliana invasion mechanic can sometimes mess with what you're trying to do. Like when we were sneaking into that club, I think Frank's club, right? Like 3 or 4 times, Juliana showed up and um, just messed with us getting through it in a sort of sneaky way. And overall, there were lots of just annoying bugs, right? Like in the party, suddenly all of these enemies like spawned all around us and started shooting at us, which feels a bit weird. And like Juliana just knows where you are, which might be as intended, but it also messes with some of the like leads that you're trying to follow, right? Because it's you know you're not supposed to have the guy detect you or whatever, right? And then of course you fail, and then you have to loop again and do all the walking over to the area, right? Which is, I don't know, like doing the same thing over and over again is not that enjoyable. So I think fixing some of those bugs and maybe figuring out the timing of how Juliana spawns, like if we're trying to do something stealthily, maybe it's also sort of intentional that she interrupts what you're trying to do. But if it happens like X number of times in a row, like, I don't know, is that really fun? Because, like, if the game just put you in a box and you couldn't do anything, like, that would be pretty boring, right? Like, you should still be able to do what you want to do. Okay, maybe you fail once or twice, but not sort of repeat it over and over. I think they had some really clever puzzles in the game, so I appreciate that. we got lost a couple of times. We messed up. Anything else? Yeah, I don't know. A conclusion. I I think it's a cool experience. It's a fairly short experience. There's still some bugs and some weird things that need to be ironed out, like the aiming and things falling through the world and so on. But there's something here. There's something here. I like it. The sort of combination of guns and I guess we had that in Dishonored as well, but like the guns and the power. I like that they changed that you don't have to find all these boosts to get your power back up. That kind of feels limiting, because you feel like you can't really use them, and they're like one of the coolest part of it. So I think that's cool that, yeah, it's just available. But yeah, so that's the Deathloop game. So thanks for watching. We'll talk again soon. Bye.